Oh no, a package of records came in the mail and I opened it without pointing a camera at it. What will I do now? Well folks, here we are again with another round of new records, and as you probably guessed from the intro, these are a couple of records that I ordered together a while ago, and which just came in a couple of weeks ago, but I didn't get the chance to unbox for you because I was busy working on other videos. So, for those of you who like to see people take things out of cardboard boxes, I'm sorry, but that's just the way I roll. But actually, looking at them now that I've been unboxed and I've played them, is probably better, because now I can actually talk about the albums rather than just showing you how they look and saying what I think about how they look. So I got these two records here. One of them is an album by the Black Keys, and the other one is by a Canadian band called Hey Ocean. So we'll look at Hey Ocean a little bit later, but for a start, I'd like to start with the Black Keys. So the Black Keys are a band that I just got into recently, and they were for several years one of those bands that I'd hear good things about, but for some reason or other never got around to actually listening to. So a couple of months ago, curiosity got the better of me and I finally decided to take a listen to them. And I chose this album because it was the one that's most talked about, and I was pleasantly surprised because these are two really great musicians who make up the Black Keys. They have a really unique sound. They use a really old school lo-fi production style that you really don't hear anymore and really goes back to the 60s and 50s blues and rock. And I decided very quickly I have to own this, so I took the plunge and bought it on vinyl. So the Black Keys were around for several years before they made Brothers, but this is the album that they made in 2010 that really broke them big into the mainstream and became very popular. And I think just before they made it, they must have become ISO 9001 certified, because every single thing on this packaging is labeled. Certainly makes it easy to find and figure out what you're listening to. Look, this is an album by the Black Keys. The name of the album is Brothers. Simple enough. Makes it really easy to introduce. And look, even on the back, these are the names of the songs on the album. Got all of them there. And these are the guys in the band. And there's just a wonderfully awkward and corny photo here that I love. These two guys who look just like friends that I've had in somebody's basement somewhere. And I love how they look, you know, really down to earth and kind of awkward and nerdy, and yet these two make just amazing, soulful, and great sounding tunes. Patrick Carney and Dan Auerbach. So there you go, guys. Nerds can make great things after all. And I think the title of the album, Brothers, is kind of fitting because these two guys basically are close to being brothers. They've known each other since they were 8 or 9. They started recording and jamming together early on. And yeah, they pretty much known each other forever and go way back. So together these two guys made several great albums that got a lot of attention, but as I said before, Brothers is the album that really broke them big. Another note on the packaging as well is I really like how it was constructed and how it reflects the aesthetic of the actual album. It's a very old school design, goes back to the 60s and 70s where you had your stereo sound label, you had the label here, None Such, which I think they just joined a couple of years before they released their album, Brothers. And yeah, really old school, fits the tone of the album. Okay, so now let's take a look at the meat of the packaging. Let's take a look at the records themselves. Now these, I gotta say, are really quality pressed records, and it's one of those albums that's just long enough that it barely requires 2 albums. You could have fit it all onto one disc. I suppose the whole album runs in 55 minutes, but I think it's really for the better that they put it onto 2 in terms of sound quality, because 55 minutes you're pushing into the upper limits of what a record can hold, and you're pretty much bound to get groove cramming in at that point, which reduces the bass frequencies and other aspects of the music and really lowers the sound quality. So by spreading it out onto 4 sides, by spreading it out onto 4 sides, you can make sure that the music has the space that it needs to breathe, as it were. There's plenty of room for the grooves here, and it really makes sure that the bass and all the range of the music is preserved nicely. And it is a really well pressed record too. Both of these things are just pressed excellently. They are on medium weight vinyl. I do not believe that it's 180 grams, but still very well pressed. A little bit warped, but it doesn't affect sound quality at all. And the way it was pressed, there's no nicks or pops or imperfections in it at all that I can hear. You drop it and it's just pure music on there, and it just sounds lovely. And why can't more things be pressed like this? And here you got an old school label too, where everything again is labeled. It's a stereo recording. These are the names of the songs on side A. Everything like that. All the information you could ever possibly need. What the temperature outside was when they recorded it, what kind of food they were eating. Everything is on there. Now, of course, it is well pressed, but this is, of course, a lo-fi album, so the recording itself does have distortion on it. So if you're just getting into records, this wouldn't be a good one to listen to first, because someone who'd never heard a record before and heard this might think that the vocals are always distorted like that, when actually it's just part of the recording. That's how they recorded the vocals. So Auerbach and Carney have always been a lo-fi band. They started out recording in actual garages at the beginning of their careers, and they would often record onto 8-track tapes and other old school analog equipment, and just things that produced that really old garagey 60s era rock sound. And even though by the time they made Brothers they'd made it big and were recording with a major label, they still managed to keep that signature sound, that lo-fi gritty sound in their music while still having a higher production value. So they really held on to their roots and managed to do creative things with it. So really great stuff. And it was also mastered by Chad Blake, engineered by Chad Blake, who's a really accomplished engineer, so that's great too. So like I said, this album has some really great songs on it, and the one that really introduced me to the Black Keys and really introduced me to their sound was Everlasting Light, the first one on the album. And interestingly, that song, I actually first heard it at a youth event at my church. There was a rock band playing there, and they actually played that song between events. And I heard it and I thought, wow, that's a really cool, unique sound. So it was a church group that got me into the Black Keys, so that's pretty cool. Yeah, so Everlasting Light is just a really great, positive, upbeat tune that's full of hope and new possibilities, and there's a really great range of sounds on here. There's easygoing rock tunes, there's blues songs, there's heartbreak songs, there's all kinds of things, bluegrass influences, everything like that. Tighten Up was one of their biggest singles. This is the one that really made it big on the charts. Howlin' for You is also a big one. Next Girl is really great too. All of these are really good cuts on here. Side 2 has two other of my favorites, The Only One and Too Afraid to Love You. And even though these all have a distinct, similar sound, they're all unique in their own way. And I think that each one has a different flavor, and the album never really becomes tiring. It's all kinds of different variations on a theme, and it all flows together really solidly. There's a lot of great influences on here from things like, you can hear Led Zeppelin on Tighten Up, you can hear lots of blues influences, and bluegrass and soul and all kinds of things like that. They actually have a cover of a soul singer on side D, Never Gonna Give You Up. That's, oh, I forget who that's by, but yeah, that's really good. On here we have other great tunes, 10 Cent Pistol, which is a really dark but cool revenge song, Sinister Kid, The Go-Getter, I'm Not the One, lots of different things on here. There's another one of my favorites on side D, which is Unknown Brother, really positive and hopeful tune about the life of somebody who passed away but who left a great mark on the world. Never Gonna Give You Up, These Days, lots of different tunes on here that are really great. And on here, as you can see, there's a lot of space because it's just barely enough for 2 records, but I want to see what the matrix number is on here. It's 1520266 is the matrix number on there. There's also a stamped number, 20653 is the stamped, not handwritten number on there. So that's the pressing of the record that I have, and it might be a standard one or it might be one that's unique to Canada, but that's the edition that I have. So that's really cool, really well pressed record, and it's got a sound that really fits with vinyl. Also on the inside here we have a nice big poster. It shows us brothers, really big, and just like the rest of the cover, everything is labeled. This is a Black Keys poster, I love that. On the other side here, these are the lyrics, and I was actually disappointed that they didn't label the credits for everyone who worked on the album, you know. These are the credits of people who worked on the album. I don't know. But yeah, really great composition here. Lots of goodies and great presentation. There's a newsprint feel to this that really fits the vibe of the album, and really gives you a great experience to go along with it. And that's really one of the main appeals of collecting vinyl as well. And to top it all off, let me get this in here. They even include a CD version of the album, a little baby version of the album here. Look how small that is. Yeah, so a lot of albums will just give you a download code that you go onto the internet and use to download MP3 versions. These guys were nice enough to give you a whole CD. So you don't even have to download anything. You can listen to it in your car. You can do whatever you want with it without having to burn your own or download anything. So that's really nice. Nice to have for a portable version, or if you just want to pay a lot for a CD and throw the record away, I guess you could always buy that version. But yeah, so that is Brothers, and it's a really great album. I definitely recommend it if you're into rock, and especially classic rock. So thanks for joining me again as we look at some new music, and next time we will be talking about Hey Ocean's album Is. So until then, see you later, have a good one.